All right, welcome back to another game of Precision Baseball. My name is Brian Hafferkamp. I'm the designer and creator of this game. And in this replay, we're going to finish off our Milwaukee Brewers at Chicago Cubs opening day replay. So this is from March 30th, 2023. And we're going to be dropping into the sixth inning, and we'll play out the rest of the game here. Chicago is trailing 4-3. So in the top of the fifth, Milwaukee took the lead on an RBI single from Rowdy Tellez. We are at the top of the sixth inning. Marcus Stroman is out of the game. He went 5 innings, gave up 8 hits and 4 runs, 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. He did have 1 hit by pitch. And still in the game for Milwaukee is Corbin Burnes. So Burnes at 6 in his stamina. He can go 25, so he's been in the game for a bit. He'll probably go out to pitch the 6th, and we'll see how he does there, if he gets himself an extra inning or not. Yeah, let's dive right into this one. Got all my charts set up, and I'm going to try to remember to do everything. We'll see if that happens. That includes pickoffs and things like that, and remembering to check errors on base hits. So, all right, up for the Brewers is going to be Brian Anderson, Bryce Terang, and then back to the top of the order with Christian Yelich. Anderson is 0 for 1. He walked in his last at bat. He's facing the new pitcher Hayden Wesneski, and Wesneski is a right-handed pitcher. He has an 11 stamina, so I'm anticipating maybe the 6th and 7th with Wesneski. We'll see if he gets in trouble in either of these innings. He's good against righties, not so great against lefties, and we'll see how that works against Yelich. So Brian Anderson, right-handed batter. He is a -1 against right-handers. Wesneski is a -2, so it's -3. And then we say instead of 1 to 10, it's 1 to 10 -3. So 1 to 7 is. We'll look on Brian Anderson's card. 8 to 20. We'll look on Wesneski's card, and we're looking on the D12 here, or D20. It's a 12, so that comes off the pitcher card. We have a 209. Remember, I'm reading red, white, and blue. So a 209 against a right-handed batter is going to be a fly ball. So that's a fly ball to center field. There's no error on the play. And making the catch in center field is going to be Cody Bellinger, and that's out number 1. Bryce Terang stands in. He's a left-handed batter, and he is also 0 for 1. He walked in his last at bat. One of the 3 walks from Marcus Stroman. This is going to come off of the pitcher's card, so $5.99 against a lefty is going to be into the strikeout range. So Wesneski gets the strikeout. That's out number 2. We don't move his stamina for a strikeout. And that'll bring up Christian Yelich. Yelich is 0 for 2. He got hit by pitch and scored in the first inning, but hasn't done much since then. He is a 1 to 15 to get control. So this is going to be off of his card. An 893 should be good things. That's going to be a base hit against a right-hander. And that will be a ground ball into left center field. So he shoots that past a shortstop. So ground ball into left center field. Let's check the error. Well, we got to see who made the catch. It's going to be the center fielder making the catch. And no error on the play. As Bellinger gets to it, gets it back in. Yelich runs at a 6. When it goes into left center field, down the left field line, right center field, down the right field line, I like to see, can they advance and take an extra base. So his running is a 6. That's what we're looking at. And Bellinger picks up the ball. He's at a -4. If we add his range and his arm, which his arm is good, but his range is not. So he's a -4. And I think Christian Yelich, because that -4 is less than the batter or the base runner's speed, he can challenge the arm of the center fielder. So we're going to do that. And if the base runner's speed is faster than the range plus the arm rating of the fielder, then we use this outfield arm chart to determine safe or out. If the fielder is greater than the base runner's running, then we use the base running chart here, the tag up extra base chart. Let's go and move this because that's what's going to happen. All right, so Bellinger's outfield arm is a +1, and a 211 to 360, he gets him at second. Otherwise, Christian Yelich will be safe with a hustle double. It's a 251, and look at that. Cody Bellinger gets there and makes a peg to second and gets Christian Yelich just before he's safe, and he gets thrown out trying to advance. So we're going to call that 8. What would that be? We'll call that 8-4 on the put out. Wow. All right, so Yelich tries to go for second, and he does not make it, as Cody Bellinger gets there quickly, comes up firing, and gets his man at second base. And we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Great defensive play from Cody Bellinger as Yelich tried to push the issue. You can see there's only about a 10 or 15% chance to get him out. And he did it pretty great. All right, so we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. It'll be Corbin Burns against Patrick Wisdom, Miles Mastrobuoni, and Nico Hoerner. Patrick Wisdom is 0 for 2. Got to get Hosmer out of there. He's not batting. Patrick Wisdom hits right-handed. He's a -1 against righties. Burns is a -4. That makes him a -5. So remember, 1 to 10, -5. So it becomes a 1 to 5. And a 6 to 20. That's a 5, so that comes off of Wisdom's card. 337 against a righty is going to be a strikeout off of Wisdom's card. Just into his strikeout range. And Corbin Burns with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Ks on the day. He's going to stay there. That brings up Miles Mastrobuoni, one of those strikeouts. Left-handed batter. He's a 0, perfectly average against right-handed pitchers, but Burns is a -6 against lefties, so it's a 1 to 4 for Mastrobuoni. It's a 16, that's off of Burns' card. 243 against a lefty will be a fly ball, and that goes out to left field. And there is no problem out in left field, as Ian Happ makes the catch for out number 2, or not Ian Happ, Christian Yelich makes the catch for out number 2. And that's going to bring up Nico Hoerner with 2 down in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Cubs are down by 1. Hoerner is a +3. Burns is a -4, so that makes Hoerner a 1 to 9 for control. It is a 9. 565 though is going to be a strikeout. So that's a 1-2-3 inning for Burns. So we have a strikeout, so this doesn't move, and we have a 1-2-3 inning. So he actually gains on his stamina. So that was a pretty good inning, as Burns doesn't move his stamina at all in the 6th. Could have, maybe I got him another 2 innings. We'll see. We head to the top of the 7th. It is 4-3 Milwaukee over Chicago. It'll be Winker, Adames, and Tellez. And we'll see. This might be where Hayden Wesniewski's undoing. We'll see. This goes off his card. A 585 against a lefty is going to be a strikeout, so he does pretty good there. Against left-handers, his strikeout percentage is 16%, but against righties, it's 26%. So he's not. Maybe he's got a good slider or something. I'm not really familiar with Hayden Wesniewski's pitch arsenal. Brings up Willy Adames. Adames, good game. 2 for 3. He's got 2 RBIs and a run scored. And those 2 hits are doubles. So we'll see if Wesniewski can hold him down. It is a right-handed, against righty pitchers, he's a +1. Against righty batters, he's a -2. So he's a 1-9 for control. And a 270 is going to be a fly ball. That's hit out to left. A 192 is going to be a catch. So this time it is Happ in left field making the catch. That'll be out number 2. So 2 down in the top of the 7th inning. Wesniewski trying to keep the game where it is. The Brewers looking for a little bit of insurance. Tellez, this is going to come off the pitcher card. A 0.76 against a lefty is going to be a grounder. And that goes to the first baseman. No problem at first. And it will be, we'll say, I'll take it to the bag. How about that? So 3 unassisted. Excuse me. We're going to leave his stamina there. I think I'm going to get a new pitcher in. But we'll leave his stamina there for the 1-2-3 inning. In a 1-2-3 inning, you get a +1. So you get -1 for the batter, +1 for the 1-2-3 inning, which means you don't have to move it. And because there was a 0 here, or I'm sorry, a strikeout here with the 1-2-3 inning, you get the no movement for the 1-2-3 inning and a +1. So it is possible for stamina to increase throughout the game, or at least to go up just a little bit. It's not going to happen very often, maybe once a game, and it's not going to like completely and totally affect everything. It just gives that pitcher just a little bit more time to stay in the game. Okie doke, we got bottom of the 7th inning. 4-3 is our score. Cubs are behind 1. They're going to send up the heart of the order. It's Swanson, Happ, and Bellinger against Corbin Burns. Swanson is 1 for 2. He's got a single and a walk. He's going to be a 1-7 for control. It's a 9. So this is off the pitcher card. 595 is into the strikeout range. And Corbin Burns starts out the 7th with a strikeout of Dansby Swanson. Going to bring up Ian Happ. Happ, a strikeout victim twice. He's also got a base hit sandwiched in there. This will come off Burns' card. A 257 is a fly ball. And that goes out to, that's a pop-up to short. And no problem for the shortstop. That is Willy Adames making the catch on that pop fly into short left field. That'll be 2 quick outs in the inning. Cody Bellinger stands in. Tall, slender left-hander, stands really tall and upright at the plate. He is 0 for 2. He's got a walk and a run scored back in the 1st inning when the Cubs put up 2 on Burns. Burns is settled in nicely, giving up 1 for the rest of the way. Bellinger against righties is a +2. Burns is a -6 against lefties, and so he is a what is that? -4, 1-6 for control. It's a 9. So 574 off of Burns' card is going to be a strikeout as he gets belly to end the inning. Another 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout at the end. Puts Burns right back at 6, and he is really vying for staying in the game longer. So the Cubs go down 1-2-3 in the 7th. We're going to go to the top of the 8th. Cubs are going to get a new pitcher. Let me bring in a new pitcher for the Cubbies. All right, the new pitcher is going to be Julian Merriweather, right-handed pitcher. He can go 4 batters for his stamina. Actually, 4 is his stamina. Doesn't mean he can go 4 batters, but that's his stamina. Equally good against lefties and righties, -3, -3. And he'll be facing off against Contreras, Luis Urias, and Garrett Mitchell. So 8th inning, it's 4-3, little game reset. The Brew Crew took the lead in the 5th on a Rowdy Tellez RBI single. That was after the Cubs had come back and tied it at 3 with an RBI single from Nico Horner in the bottom of the 4th inning. So Milwaukee responds back, takes the lead. Corbin Burns is still in the game for Milwaukee, and into the game for the Cubs is going to be Julian Merriweather. It'll be William Contreras, not Wilson. Wilson plays for the Cardinals. 2 for 3 day for William Contreras, the former Brave. A double, a single, a run scored. And he's looking to help pad the lead here for Milwaukee. This is going to come off of Contreras' card. All right, we got a 444. So 444. Contreras is a righty. He's hitting off a right-hander. 444 is into the strikeout, like right at the beginning of the strikeouts. And so let's get our highlight plays. Highlight plays don't always mean something crazy. Sometimes it's just a highlight. So let's find our strikeouts. Okay. So our strikeouts start here and end here. So let's go ahead and roll this. You can't see everything, but I'll show whatever the number is. It's a 006. So So 1-50, 2-2 pitch, changeup blowing away. The batter is way out in front and loses his bat into the dugout. So an interesting play. So Contreras, the strikeout victim, loses his bat into the dugout. That'll be a swinging strike, or a swinging strikeout, I guess, for out number 1. Luis Urias to the game, or into the batter's box. He's 1 for 2. He's got a sacrifice hit that led to a run. Urias against righties is a -1, Merriweather a -3. So it's a 1-6 for control. It's a 5, and so this will come off of his card. A 941 is going to be a base, actually a double. 941 is into his double range, and that will be a ground ball into left center field as he gets it through the infield, and it rolls all the way into deep left center field, and he's going to pull up into second base for the double. Let's check on an error. No error on the play. That would have been on the left fielder. All right, so Luis Urias is at second base. He's in scoring position now for Garrett Mitchell. Garrett Mitchell, a left-hander. He's a 1-6 for control. This comes off the pitcher card. 722 against a lefty is going to be a walk. So Merriweather getting into a little bit of hot water here in the ninth, as it's got 2 runners on and only 1 out. Brian Anderson comes to the plate. Anderson, not great against right-handed pitching. Let's see what they got here on the bench. Joey Weimer was their sort of number 1 option there. Monasterio a little better. Santana a little better. He's got a pretty good OPS against left-handers, so I'm not sure if Santana was an option or not at this point in the season, but I'm going to go with it. So we're going to get Carlos Santana. Not the guitar player, but the first baseman. I'm sure he gets that a lot in his life. Pinch hitter in the 8th, and he is a, not that it matters, 3 minus 1, 0, 1, 1. That might matter. So we're going to get a pinch hitter here. Should be at a 1. We're going to get a pinch hitter. It's Carlos Santana to the plate. So Santana up with 2 on and 1 out. He's a much better hitter against left-hander. At 53 plate appearances, hit 319 with an 867 OPS as opposed to 653 against right-handed pitching. Lower K percentage, same walk percentage. So maybe odds go up a little bit that he gets a hit here. So against Merriweather, he is going to be a 0. Merriweather against him is a -3, so 1 to 7 for control. So this comes off Santana's card. 830 against a righty is going to be a base hit. And that will be a blooper into right center field as he gets jammed and muscles it out to right center field. So it's going to push every runner up at least 1 base. And let's see what we got here. Let's see if there's an error first, I guess. No error on the play. So runner advancement on hits to the outfield. So we have a runner at second base, so we're looking at second to home. The Brewers are, both teams are aggressive going second to home, so we're in this green. At second base is Urias. He's a 0. So he's in this column here. And it's going to be all my choice whether he goes to third base or not. Or, sorry, whether he goes home. Let's go ahead and try to score him. Who picks up the ball? It is the right fielder who picks up the ball. So it's Miles Mastrobuoni. He has a -1 out there. And Urias is a 0. So this is going to be the onus on the outfielder to throw out the base runner going home. So outfield arm of 0. He's 101 to 210. They get him at the plate. Otherwise, he's going to be safe. It's a 232, and they almost get him. It's very close at the plate. But he is going to be here, and that will be a safe call. As Luis Urias, booking it around third, comes home to score on a bloop single to right center field. And that'll be an RBI here. And so let's resolve the trail runner situation. So trail runners, they're aggressive as well, I believe. Yeah, both teams aggressive on the trail running. So a 0 if there's a play to home advances, and a +1 advances. That's what both our runners are. So both runners move up on the play. And he'll be at third. I think we're going to call that a single and an advancement on the fielder's choice. I think that's how you score that. Maybe someone can help me with that. When there's a single to the outfield and the trail runner advances because of the throw, I think that's an advancement because of fielder's choice, right? I want to say that's correct. So 2 in scoring position now after the pinch hit single from Carlos Santana. Both runners move up, so we got runners at second and third. And trail runner advancement's kind of a pretty in-depth little thing. But it's easy to do. It's just it's like an extra little step. But it does help you. So runners, base runners with more speed are going to be able to advance automatically. Base runners with less speed obviously are going to hold. They're not going to try to advance. And then guys in the middle, depending on the aggressiveness of the team, and also depending on whether the throw is going through to third base or to home, that kind of changes the dynamics of who can advance and that kind of thing. All right, leaving Merriweather out there to face Bryce Terang. He's struck him out twice. He's also walked once. This is going to come off the batter card since Merriweather is at a 0. A 373 against a right-hander is going to be a fly ball. It's going to be a pop-up, 029. That's going to be a pop-up to the catcher. And the catcher makes the play on the pop-up. So just in front of home plate, he'll make the catch. Go P2, and that's as good as a strikeout for Julian Merriweather. He's got 2 down. There's 1 in, and there's 2 runners on base. Christian Yelich to the plate. Yelich is 1 for 3. He's been hit by a pitch. He scored a run. He's got a single. He got caught the last time up trying to advance to second base. Cody Bellinger got it into second base and got him just before he slid in safely. He's going to control this at bat, and 840 is going to be a single. That's a ground ball through to the right side into right field. And that's going to score 1 run. Scores a runner here. And going to third is Carlos Santana. He's a +1. So we look at our runner advancement. He's a +1. We're looking at second to home again. So he's here. It's all going to be whether I want to do that or not. We got a fast runner. And in right field, what do we have? It's Mastroboni is a -1. And we have a +1. So I'm going to go ahead and put the pressure on the defense to throw him out at the plate. So this is going to be, it's all on Mastroboni's arm. Well, his arm in range, which is a -1. So that puts him in this last column. A 31 to 100, he'll be out at the plate. Otherwise, be safe. A 320 is going to be safe at the plate. And then we also had to figure our trail runner. So 2 RBI single into right field for Christian Yelich, as Carlos Santana comes around to score. And we look at our trail runners. Yelich is a +6, so he's going to advance on any throw through. So he advances on a fielder's choice. And another runner in scoring position, as the Brewers take a 6-3 lead now. It's Jesse Winker to the plate. Winker is 2 for 3. He's a -1 against righties, so not a great hitter against right-handed batters. Only 200 batting average, 484 OPS, and takes a lot of walks, but strikes out quite a bit. He's a 1-6 for control. It's an 8, so a 311 is going to be a line drive, and that's going to be a liner to first base, and the first baseman Hosmer reaches out and he makes a good catch. We'll go L3 on the putout. That's out number 3. The Brew Crew does put up 2 runs in the 8th inning off of Julian Merriweather, and they take a 6-3 lead over the Cubs. Cubs looking for a little bit of offense. Milwaukee's going to go ahead and leave Corbin Burns out there. Burns so far 7 innings, only 3 runs given up. He'll face Trey Mancini, Yan Gomes, and Eric Hosmer. This will come off of Burns' card. A 947 is going to be a base hit. And that will be a blooper into right center field, as Mancini gets jammed, but he muscles it out to right center. No error on the play. And Mancini runs at a -1. It's the center fielder that makes the play. Garrett Mitchell is a +3, so I don't think we're going to try to challenge and get that extra base. Mancini not exactly a fast runner. Brings up Yan Gomes to the plate. Gomes is 1 for 3. This will come off of Burns' card. 505 to a right-hander is going to be a strikeout, so Burns with another K. It's a real thinking man's game, precision baseball. You really kind of get a chance to, it's a little bit like bullet time in the Matrix, when they filmed the Matrix and they showed them, like time slows down. It's still moving forward, but it kind of slows down, especially when you're trying to figure out the base running situation. But trying to bring as much precision as possible to the base running game, based off of stats that we have, based off of just general strategies about what people would do if they were on this base and that type of thing. If you see anything totally out of whack when you play this game, just let me know and we can readjust some of those tables. But at this point, it feels pretty realistic as far as when trail runners advance and that kind of thing. And then just kind of what the percentages are. The error percentages for sure are spot on. Those are actual error percentages for each of those categories of player. The same thing with the player finder. I actually used some research from Baseball Maelstrom, and he had done some research. Commish Orr had done some research on fielding, and so I've been watching his videos as he sort of goes through and runs the numbers on fielding percentages and how much each player gets the ball and things like that. So those are drawn a lot from his research of going through that. And then also, stealing, taking extra bases, some of those things are a little bit, well, the stealing is spot on because that's taken right from actual stolen base percentage numbers. Base running is a little bit more me looking at taking extra bases and things like that, and then looking at those categories. So we do have those numbers, extra base, taking extra bases, things like that. So, and then double play percentages, looking at those double play percentages across the different categories. So I try to use actual stats where we have them, which is most of the game. So, okay. Where are we? We've got one out, one on. Let's see if we didn't do our pickoffs with Mancini at first base. So let's see what kind of lead he takes. A 960. Mancini is a -1. And he's got a normal lead. Let's see if there's a pickoff. A 157. There's no pickoff. So, Eric Hosmer to the plate. Hosmer, a left-handed batter. He's only a 1-3 to control this at bat. And he rolls a 2. So he does get control. 228. Oh, excuse me. It's a ground ball. And that's going to go to the short or the third baseman. Does he make the catch? He does. All right, so grounder to the third baseman. And it is an 876. So grounded to the third baseman, we have a runner at first. We got a 5-4 double play chance. We're looking at the DP rating of the third baseman. So the third baseman is, we didn't bring in anybody for the outfield. Should have brought in this guy. He was just a pinch hitter. Okay. We have a third baseman. His name is Luis Urias. Urias on his double play rating is a 0. And so we're looking at the DP rating of 0 to determine if there's a double play here. 541 to 710. So they get the out at second, and on the turn, they cannot make the out. So that was almost a throwing error, by the way. So if you get a 3 of it, it was 988. So if you get a 3 of a kind on that double play throw, then you have to check for a throwing error. So no double play as they get the base runner at second base. That'll be a fielder's choice. And that'll be on with a 5-4 fielder's choice as Eric Hosmer is now at first base. And that's going to bring up Patrick Wisdom. Maybe you like this level of detail, maybe not. Maybe it's too much for you. You don't have to do everything like the pickoffs or just a little bit extra. So we'll do that here. 744. Hosmer is a 0. So that's a normal lead. And let's see if there's a pickoff attempt or not. There is a pickoff attempt. 901 on a normal lead is a pickoff attempt. So let's go ahead and roll for that. And we got our pickoff plays here. So in this normal chart, Corbin Burns is a hold of 1. So 1 plus is here. 31 to 100, they're going to get them at first. Let's see. It's a 732, so the pickoff play is unsuccessful. You can continue to do that. You get up to 3 disengagements. I'm just going to make the play go forward. He didn't get them. So it will be Patrick Wisdom against Corbin Burns. He's a 1-3 to control. So this comes off the pitcher card. 092 is going to be a ground ball. That goes to 679. That's to the shortstop. And the shortstop will make the play. I guess I should say that he makes the catch. We'll see what the play is that he makes. It's a 6, 869. It's going to be a 6-3 double or 6-3 put out. So he goes the long way, and he gets the out at first, and that will end the inning. So Burns gets through 8. He's still got a little bit of stamina left. I guess we could put him out there for the 9th, try to go for the complete game. We're going to get a new pitcher for the Cubbies, and so let's get him into the game. All right, new pitcher for the Cubs is going to be Michael Fulmer. Right-handed pitcher. His stamina is 4. It's good against lefties and righties, a little above average. He replaces Merriweather. Julian Merriweather goes 1 inning, 3 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 1 walk and a strikeout. I said it was 2 runs, but it's actually 3, so it's 7-3, not 6-3. Christian Yelich with a big 2 RBI single, and that drove in Garrett Mitchell and Carlos Santana. All right, Michael Fulmer into the game. He'll face off against Willy Adames, Rowdy Tellez, and William Contreras. So Fulmer's going to be even Steven with Willy Adames. So 1-10 goes to Adames. It's off the pitcher card, a 449. It smells like a strikeout, and it is, as Fulmer comes in and gets a strikeout right off the bat. Strikeout percentage, it's about 27.5, 28.5. Rowdy Tellez to the plate. So Fulmer does really well against the righties. Pretty okay against the lefties. Strikes out more left-handers than right-handers. And Tellez is a lefty. So he's going to be a 1-9. It is a 9. And a 746 is going to be a walk for Rowdy Tellez. So he's on at first. Drops him down to a 2. And William Contreras to the plate. Let's see if there is what kind of lead he gets. 980, and he has a -2. So that's going to be a normal lead for him. See if there's a pickoff play. No pickoff play. So William Contreras to the plate. And he is a even as well with Michael Fulmer. So this comes off the pitcher card, a 470. That's probably another strikeout. It is. As Fulmer comes in, throwing the gas. He gets it right by William Contreras. Swings through it and misses. He's checking for a hole in his bat. And brings up Luis Urias. Urias is 2 for 3. He's got a single and a double. A run scored. He actually has a sacrifice hit too, which is that should count for a couple of hits in today's game. Luis Urias is going to be a 1-8 for control. It's an 8. And so this comes off the batter card. 967. That could be real trouble. That's going to be a double for Luis Urias, as he hits a line drive down the left field line. With 2 outs, that's going to push the runner there. He's going to wind up at second base. And Rowdy Tellez is a -2, so I think we're just going to... he's probably going to be an automatic hold. First to third, or first to home. He's a -2 down the left field line. That's going to be a hold. So couldn't run even if he wanted to, so that's going to be held up at second base. 2 out, double down the left field line for Luis Urias. He's got back-to-back doubles in this one. That's going to bring up Garrett Mitchell. Mitchell walked and scored in his last at-bat. He came around on the Christian Yelich 2-run single. He will be a 1-8 for control. It's a 5, so this comes off the batter card. So 385, and a 385 is going to be a strikeout off of Mitchell's card. So 2 runners stranded as Michael Fulmer strikes out the side, and he completes his day. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. It's 7-3. Cubs need some offense in the worst way. And let's see what they have on the bench. These are some of their better players. They're facing a right-hander, so they want Tauchman's a good option. Not sure if Tauchman was there at the time, but I'm going to use him. Pretty sure Candelario didn't come over until after the trade deadline, but I don't really know that. I live in Chicago. I don't keep up a lot with the Cubs. Just kind of what I catch on talk radio every once in a while. So, like Tauchman. I mean, I'm familiar enough with the names. I just don't keep up with the everyday. I keep up with the everyday of the Braves. So pinch hitter in the 9th. He is a 0-1. I was running. I'm not going to worry about the fielding because I'm not bringing him into the field. Although I guess I could if necessary. So Topman will be facing off against Corbin Burns. And he's a +1 against righties. Burns is a -4, so that makes him a 1-7 for the batter to control the at-bat. He does. A 908 could be really good things. That's going to be a base hit. As Topman comes off the bench, he bloops one down the left field line. Topman runs at a +1. The left fielder, Yelich, is a +1. And so in that case, the onus goes to the runner to advance. It's about a 55% chance or so. 21 to 84, 63% chance to make it to second base. To me, it's just not necessary at this point. So Mike Tauchman at first. They need 4 runs. They don't need 1. So Corbin Burns faces off against Nico Horner. It's a 1-9 for control for Horner. So this comes off of the batter or the pitcher card. 856 is going to be a base hit of some sort. And it'll be a 551. That'll be a single. And that is a blooper into left center field. So not hitting the ball hard, but dinking and dumping their way to a couple of base hits here are the Cubs. Topman goes to second. They are aggressive, going first to third. He's a +1. So left center field, that's going to be my chance, or my decision, I guess. This is the left fielder that picks it up. That's Yelich. So same thing. We're just going to leave him there. And he'll be at second base. Runners at first and second. And nobody out. Dansby Swanson to the plate. Swanson 1 for 3. A 19, that'll come off Burns' card. 0-25, that should be a grounder. It is. And 524, that's a ground ball to the shortstop. The play is made at short. .483. So we got runners at first and second. That's going to be a 6-4-3 double play. So this guy is out. He'll be out number 1. Call that 6-4-3. That's out number 2, and he's going to advance on the fielder's choice. So runner at third base, a double play. You leave the stamina where it is. Sometimes there are automatic double plays, and sometimes there are double plays that you have to figure. So the question mark, you can see here. So sometimes there's a question mark like here. Well, first and second, there's a question mark here. But then these are just 6-4-3 double plays. So you hit it to the shortstop, you hit it to the second baseman, especially, you know, they're going to make a lot of double plays, automatic double plays. All right, we got Joey Weimer into the game. Weimer. So he has come into the game. He came in long before that, but he's in the game here. And he is a -1 against right-handed pitching. So he's a 1-8 for control. Oh, I put him in the wrong one. Man, I'm looking at the wrong place. Okay. I don't need to look there. It's Ian Happ. Sorry. Ian Happ to the plate. Runner at third base. I'll scratch that. Runner at third base. And it will be Ian Happ. Happ is 1 for 4. And against Burns, he's going to be a -1. So that's going to... Oh, I'm sorry. He's batting left-handed. So he's a -3. 1-7 for control. So this comes off of the pitcher card. 262 against the lefty. It's going to be a fly ball. That goes to center field. And possible error in center field. Center fielder is Garrett Mitchell. He is an error rating of 0. So it has to be a 22-32 for an error. We've got a 51, so no error on the play. And that's going to be out number 3 as Mitchell catches that fly ball. And that is going to end our game. So the Cubs threaten in the 9th, but they don't push any runs across. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3 is our final score. Let me come back with the totals as Corbin Burns throws a complete game and gets the win on opening day. All right, so let's get to the totals in this one. It's going to be 7 runs on 13 hits, no errors for Milwaukee. And for the Cubs at home, it's 3 runs on 10 hits and no errors. Just couldn't push runs across when they had the opportunity. They did it in the first inning, but after that, just had a couple of opportunities, just couldn't get anyone around the double play here in the 9th inning. A killer as Dansby Swanson grounds into a double play. It will be Corbin Burns with the win as he goes 9 innings, 10 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, and 11 strikeouts. Definitely player of the game status for him. Marcus Stroman takes the L. 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs. Not horrible, but just not enough to keep the Cubs, not enough offense really to keep the Cubs in it. When he left, it wasn't so bad. It was a 4-3, but a 3-run 8th inning. As you can see, Merriweather came in, gave up 3 hits and 3 runs. It was an RBI single from the pinch hitter Carlos Santana, and then it was a 2 RBI single from Christian Yelich, and that was a rough 8th inning for the Cubs, and really that was the difference in the ball game as Fulmer came in, completed off the 9th for the Cubs and kept them within striking distance, but ultimately they lost this one by 4 runs. So that is Precision Baseball. It's taken 2 videos. I kind of slow played through the first video. This one was a little bit quicker. It's going to take you an hour to an hour and a half, depending on if you're recording. You know, I'm having to talk through a bunch of stuff. Normally, I wouldn't keep bringing these sheets over and putting them over here, I would just keep them off to the side and just roll and do whatever. But I'm kind of talking my way through this game. It's brand new. You can go to clarkandaddisongaming.com and you can actually purchase this 2023 season. Let me see if I can show you a little bit of my setup here. So you can see that I've got my over here is Wrigley Field. So you can see there it's got all the plays for the singles and stuff like that. If I needed all of this data up here, oh well, it's right in the light. If I needed all that data up there, I could get it. And so you can see there it's got the outfield dimensions, the wall. There's no robbing home runs or anything like that. I've also got my this is the error chart here, and this is the player finder. So those two are two that you're going to use a lot. And then these are the base running charts, obviously, that I use. And then over here, I've got my ground balls and my base runner advancement just kind of sitting off over here. We didn't use this too much with the fly ball advancement, but that's over there waiting in the wings. I've got all of my player cards set up over there. And then over here, I just, you can't see it very well, but I had those open where you could see, there we go. You could see the game guide, and then the highlight plays are over there as well. So just kind of looking around at my setup, right? So you can see you got sort of a command center style setup where you can easily get to everything and sort of check those out. Maybe you want to have yours like in a wall or have them sitting up in some little holders or something like that. But just having those things around, you could also put them all just into a big stack. I would suggest having the field in one place, and the error charts, all the fielding and base running charts. I would just say have those up and ready, because you're going to use them almost every play. If you don't want to use the field, each individual field, but you want to use this general hit direction and runner advancement chart, it kind of combines the field and this chart. So less detailed for sure, but it has basic runner advancement, first to third and second to home. And then it's got basic kind of where the ball goes. This would just be one sheet that does two things as opposed to two separate sheets. But there's a lot more detail. Like on this baseball field, you can hit it into the basket in left field, into the bleachers. You can hit it onto Waveland Avenue, which is hitting it out of the ballpark in left field. Into the center field bleachers or the basket, off the fair pole, deep to right, off of the scoreboard. So you can see that these are sort of contextualized to each individual ballpark. A couple more here. Playing at Fenway, you can into the stands above the left field wall. There's a couple of those. Right of the yellow line in center field, there's that center field yellow line that goes up the wall. So where in this part right here, there's a line right there. And if you hit it to the right of that, it's a home run. If you hit it to the left of it, it's off the wall and in play. Off the fair pole extension in right field, there's this little extender that kind of goes down off of the foul pole. It's hard to explain, but it's right there by the pole. That's one of the ground rules at Fenway Park. I also played a little bit at Citi Field. There's an orange line in center field that you can hit it over. You can knock it off of these little railings that are just above the wall, and that's considered a home run. I don't think I have any more ballparks printed out, but you get every ballpark, and some of them have just some quirky little things. I looked at ground rules for each of the different ballparks, actual ground rules, and it's a really cool page actually at MLB.com. If you just look up MLB stadium ground rules. Like if you do a search for that, you'll find it. But it's got all the clubs, all the different ballparks, and it shows you all the ground rules. So like at Tropicana Field with Tampa Bay, if you hit it off the rail, if you hit it off the roof, there's like different rings around the roof, and so if you hit it off one of those, it means different things. If it falls foul, it means something. If it falls fair, it means something. So just some really like strange rules, especially with some of these dome stadiums, hitting it off the trusses or off the roof creates some interesting opportunities. So it's not only like here you can see it's a ground rule double if the ball gets stuck in the vines in center field. If it gets hit out to the ivy and it gets stuck in the ivy, that's a ground rule double. So just some fun little things for the ballparks. I thought that was a cool little thing. I personally think that the ballpark effects should be only things that the ballpark actually affects. Like a ballpark effect shouldn't be a walk, because there's nothing about the ballpark that affects a walk. But you have your wall heights here. So left field, right field, left center, center, right center. You have foul territory for your plate. I don't have a new version of the highlight plays printed out, but there's like a foul ball check. So you pop it behind home plate. You have to check and see, does it fall in fair ground or not? So you roll 2d10 dice, and that would be like a well, it was a 47, wherever the 4 is. It was a 47, and so a 47 is less than the foul territory behind home plate, so that would be considered in play. And then you do whatever is on the highlight chart play result. So if it was above that and it was 67, then that would be foul, and you just re-roll. Same thing with down the lines. If you hit a foul ball down the line, sometimes there's a check for on the third base or the first base line, so you do that. And if it's outside that foul territory, it just goes foul. The wall distances don't have any; they're just for you. And so is the diagram. That doesn't really have any sort of bearing on the game. But if you play with these ballpark charts, it just adds a whole nother layer and dimension where the actual layout, the actual ballpark itself, comes into play at different times. And it won't come into play all the time, but sometimes. Yeah, I think that's it. I appreciate everybody's patience with this game. I know it's taken a long time to get out, but you can go to clarkandaddisongaming.com. The game is only $12, and you get almost 1,500 players carded, just like this. They're in color, so you can print them in color or black and white, whatever you want to do. All the charts are full color. The game guide comes in full color as well. You can see here I did the eco printing, but everything here, it comes with a little index, so you can walk through the game guide just a little bit, I guess. So it comes with an index that just shows you what page everything is on. Everything is going to be paged and numbered. But it just walks you through some of the basics of getting started. There's these little examples of the different parts of the cards, an explanation of sometimes these little extra deeper explanations. I don't know if you can see that or not. But what's going on, the player adjustment. So just explaining my process about how I did the player adjustment, why I did the player adjustment. And so you're getting a little bit of the behind the scenes, not just, okay, this is how you figure it out. But why did I do that? You know, what is the concept? Concept is a better pitcher. The better a pitcher is below the league average in these different categories. So FIP, strikeouts, walks, home runs, and hit by pitch, the better the pitcher is, he'll be below average in those things. The better a batter is, he'll be sort of above average. So he'll have more hits, home runs, fewer strikeouts, more walks. So those are the ways that I kind of figured those things out. But the game is really the key to sort of figuring out the balance or imbalance of the game. Good players, bad players in the game engine is this idea of the adjustment that I do at the beginning of each play. So it is a 50-50 game, but I'm calling it a weighted or adjusted, 50-50 game, because you're either going to come off with the batter card or the pitcher card, but it's not a simple 50-50 roll. And it's also, like in season ticket baseball, it's tied to the game or the play outcome. So your roll, your initial like D6 roll or whatever, I can't remember what it is. If it's a D100 roll, your initial roll is tied to a play result. So if you have a 101 or whatever, if you have a 300 or a 400 or 500 or 600, it might be coming off a whole different card. Here, every play starts off of a batter card or a pitcher card. It's just how do we figure out which one that comes off of. And it's really interesting because sometimes you don't want it to come off the pitcher card, right? Because you have a really good batter or a really poor batter and a really poor pitcher, but your batter is worse than your pitcher, or the batter is better than the pitcher. You really don't want it to come off the pitcher card because his results are going to be worse if it comes off the pitcher card. But the point was not to create the advantage that way. I'm not trying to create the advantage in the roll. I'm trying to create the advantage in the player's performance. So that's a little bit different than just a randomized roll. I don't know which one to pick, so we're going to roll and see which one it comes off of. Here, these adjustments are actually based off of the players, their performance against right-handed players and left-handed players. So if you happen to have a bad pitcher against a good hitter, it might be better. The hitter might just be average. And so you might want it to come off of the batter card because that would be possibly a better result than a bad pitcher. So hopefully that makes sense. So you have the adjustment, and then how do you do that? Try to give as detailed an explanation of that process as possible, and then explaining. You can see that the print is nice and big, so any of you, this is not blown up. This is just the regular size. I think I did 14-point font for this. And then how do you handle ground balls? How do you handle error situations? What do these things mean when you see them up at the top? There's different explanations all throughout the book. How to do double plays, what the different signs and symbols and numbers mean on the double play sheet. That's this one right here. What do these little symbols mean? That's also listed here on the back of the sheet for quick reference, but just to get you familiar with the game. And then, doing fly balls. How does that happen? There's little notes in here, things to remember. There's a note here. There's no chance for runners to advance on a pop-up. If the roll result is a 3 of a kind, then a range check should be performed. So just like on a ground ball. And then it explains tagging up base running situations, how to use the running, the different run values. This is an important section because it explains the whole range plus arm versus the base runners running. So, and then I have two examples, one where the base runners speed is greater than the outfielder's arm and range, and then I have one where the outfielder's arm and range is greater than the base running. So it gives you a couple of different explanations there. And the overall concept of challenging the outfielder's arm is that the outfielder has a weaker arm than the base runner's speed, then the onus should be on the outfielder to throw out the base runner. Like if he's not as strong, then the pressure should be on the outfielder to throw out the base runner. It shouldn't be on the base runner's speed. So depending on kind of how that relationship exists, you use a different chart. And then how to deal with line drives. A lot of times the line drives to the infielders will have a double play check, no double play, or there's an automatic double play on the base runner. How to deal with hits off the pitcher card. How to do hit direction and runner advancement. I have one for the simple where I showed you the one page that does everything. And then I also did, and so I explained out that situation. And then I also did the complex runner advancement where you use the ballpark charts. This is actually the chart that we just used for Wrigley Field. So it just explains through the different where you're going to look. So you're going to need the ballpark chart, the manager tendencies chart, and the runner advancement chart. So you're going to need this, and the manager chart looks like this. So that's this one. We have the manager tendencies. It's got all the teams listed with the managers. And over here you have your tendencies to do things like pinch hit, pinch run, steal second and third and stuff like that. But over here you have taking extra bases. So first to third, first to home, second to home, and then how to deal with trail runners. And then that directly corresponds with this page here where the runner advancements to the outfield. So if it's aggressive, you're going to use the green. If it's normal, you're going to use the yellow. And some are cautious. You can see cautious, and then you would use the red sections here. Same thing with the trail runners. You sometimes have cautious, sometimes normal, sometimes aggressive. Just depends on the team and how the base coaches managed the different players and how the players manage themselves too. Here, if you make a note on the score sheet about each team's tendencies, which is what I do down here, that just speeds up the game just a little bit. You don't have to keep going to that sheet and looking it up. So this just totally explains everything. And then the trail runner section, how do you deal with trail runners? You'll just look and see. And then if it's a question mark, then you'll figure that out. It's your choice to go or stay. In the case of a question mark, the throw goes through to the base. And so you'll figure safe or out. And then the runner trying to advance, that runner is either safe or out. The throw then goes to the base that the trail runner is attempting to advance to. And then that play must be figured at that base. The trail runner's run value and the base running chart use the trail runner's run value and the base running chart to figure out if he's safe or out. So there's no need to look at like infield arms or anything like that. You just look straight at the batter's run value, and then you go right to the base running extra base chart, and then you roll off of whatever that player's run value is. It's typically going to be 0 or higher. And then there's an option to throw behind the runner. So we know this as well. So if the onus is on the outfielder to throw out the base runner, and you don't feel like that's going to be a very good, it's going to be a low percentage play to throw them out, but you want to make sure that you keep those trail runners where they are, then you can throw back through behind the runner who's attempting to score. A lot of times you see this like you're up by 3 runs, or you're up by 2 runs and the run scores and you're still going to be up by a run. But if that guy who hit the ball advances to second base, he's now in scoring position, which is the tying run. So you want to keep that runner at first base. And so you can just say, hey, I'm going to throw behind the runner to second base. That runner is going to score automatically because there's no play at the plate. But it keeps the trail runner where he is. So you can't do anything there. I'll walk through the pitcher stamina system, just where to find that on the card. And then each of these, this is actually written on the stamina thing, the stamina sheet, if you use it, which I forgot to include in the original release, but it's included now. So same thing is listed here as here. So just a quick reference. If you're like, well, I can't remember if we add or subtract one for something, but you can see here it's listed. A strategy to increase the pitcher stamina is to do mound visits. So if you see a stamina is waning, but you want to try to keep them in the game a little bit more, you can do a mound visit, which gives them a +1. And here I did the MLB rules for mound visits. So you can make one mound visit per pitcher per inning without needing to remove the pitcher from the game. So it's conceivable you could do a mound visit for every inning that the pitcher is out there to try to give them that +1 boost and get them through. If the same pitcher is visited twice in an inning, then you have to remove them. They're limited to 5 per team per 9 innings. So you can only do up to 5. So if he pitches 7 innings, you wouldn't be able to do 7 mound visits. So, and you receive an additional mound visit for every extra inning that you play. So strategically performing mound visits can help nurse a struggling pitcher through the game, or maybe he's a young pitcher, or maybe he doesn't have high stamina and he's not pitching great. You can try to like squeeze out another inning or two sometimes from a pitcher like that. So that's sort of a little strategy within the game, kind of a very detailed strategy within the game. And then I look at offensive strategy plays. So the big one is stealing bases. Getting a lead, what does that mean? A short, normal, or big lead. We have the adjustments and what you do as far as getting a lead, and what that means for stealing bases. So a short lead will make a -1 adjustment to the player's stealing value. And then a normal lead doesn't do anything, just his regular steal value is at play. And then if he gets a big lead, that's a +1 to his stealing value. But it also is going to be it's also going to lead to a bigger possibility of pickoff. So you can see here that on a big lead, there's a pickoff play on 1 to 600. No pickoff 601 to 1,000. I think that should be the opposite. There should be no. I'll go back and change that. But it should be no pickoff on 1 to 600. So there's a 60% chance, or a 40% chance of a pickoff. There's a 15% chance of a pickoff here. Maybe that number's a little high. Maybe that should be 7. Because pickoffs don't happen that often. Actually, we'll just leave it at 6. It does happen pretty often. I see it in games. So we'll just leave it there. But these are charts that you're going to use if you're playing solo. If you're playing head-to-head, you would just determine that. You would say, I'm going to take a big lead. I'm going to take a normal lead. And then if you're in solo play, this is what I was using. If the pitcher is on the mound and you want to see what kind of lead the player took, you just roll against the player's steal value up here. And then it'll tell you whether they take a big, short, or normal lead. And then you have the actual pickoff play. So when it's determined that there is a pickoff, then you'll use that either as a normal or a big lead. If there's a short lead, then you don't perform. There's no pickoffs. So, and then how to steal a base. So it's the base runner's steal value minus the battery, which is the pitcher's hold value and the catcher's throwing value. So you add those two together and then you compare it. So the steal value minus whatever that is. So our example is here, Austin Riley's at first with a steal value of -1. He's facing off against Gabby Moreno and Merrill Kelly. Kelly has a hold of 1. Moreno has a throwing arm of 7. So that's an 8. So 1 minus 8, or sorry, -1 minus 8 is equal to -9. So the final steal value for Austin Riley is -9, which you can see here puts him in the worst category. So it takes him from this column to this column. And basically, you don't want to steal there because that's a 36 to 71. That's about a what is that? A 35% chance of making it to second base. So probably not stealing there. So throwing errors, if there's a 3 of a kind on a throw through, on a steal, then you're going to check to see if the catcher threw it away. Just a little, sometimes I have these little did you knows. That's not really the concept behind it. It's just like, here's something, maybe a strategy, or thinking about something about the game. So if you are looking at the value of the battery, so the pitcher hold and the catcher throwing, that can help you know, is this going to be a game where I'm going to steal a lot of bases? Maybe I only want to steal with, my top 1 or 2. So that type of thing comes through. We got our small ball strategies. Using the strategies chart, it's very straightforward. You simply roll against it. You don't do anything else. You don't have to figure the pitcher, the batter, adjustments or anything. You just roll straight for the outcomes. Explaining highlight plays, how highlight plays get triggered. These are the types of plays that will have a highlight play. At this point, you might be wondering where the wild pitches are in the pass balls. Those are in the highlight plays section. You'll find pass balls, wild pitches, pickoffs, balks. One of the things that was lost whenever I moved over to everything being splits was there's no splits for pass balls and wild pitches and stuff like that. So it's hard to know how a pitcher would have done in those instances. I talked about the foul ball check. You can see here, I'll put this section in showing you how to do a foul ball check. And then there are also some defensive strategy plays as well. So you can play the infield in this sort of, what kind of situation would you use the infield in? And then you can also guard the lines. That's a little too much space there. So, and so this is a chart that you can use. This is the original play. If you're playing guard the lines, which is just first and third baseman are closer to the line, and the outfielders are closer to the line. So if the original play was a ground ball single down the left field or right field line, then that turns into a ground ball out chance for the first or third baseman, depending on which line it was hit to, right? If there's a double down the left field or the right field line, that becomes a single. A blooper becomes a range check, so a blooper down the left or right field line. A ground ball out chance to third or first becomes a range check on the third or first baseman. So the idea is maybe that's hit more to the middle of the field. So now, because they're playing to the line, if it's hit to the left of the third baseman, you need to do a range check on that third baseman to see if he can get back over there. And then a fly ball, ground ball, or line drive double into the gap, the outfield range becomes a -2. So just like we do the range plus the outfield arm to see if he can make a play, that gets reduced because he's farther away from left center field. So that's playing like sort of a risk reward system of playing the players to the lines, right? Guard the lines. There's a double play depth, which I haven't been playing any of these defensive strategies. I need to add them to the I've got this gameplay sequences. I need to add those defensive strategies in as well, just so that you know. So if you play at a double play depth, then it's a +2 to the second, and shortstop's double play rating. Any ground ball hit between third and short or second and first automatically turns into a single. This is mostly, you're going to see that on highlight plays. And then any ground ball single up the middle becomes a ground ball play result. So you would have to check like you would for a ground ball. Because the infielders are playing closer to second base, then any single up the middle, so that's going to be a single. It would be like ground ball center field, ground ball left center field, ground ball right center field. Any of those becomes. I mean, I have to make that more clear. Okay, and then I'll just make some of these changes. It's not gonna, they're just layout changes. They're not anything really. If you have any feedback, just send me an email to clarkandaddisongaming@gmail.com, just so I can make any of the required updates that are necessary. The game is technically in soft launch mode. I've talked about it to my Facebook group. I've talked about it here on YouTube. Otherwise, I haven't really posted this like out to sort of quote unquote outside groups. So this is a bit of a soft launch, just trying to catch these things before they happen. I think I've sold 6 or 8 copies at this point, but I expect to sell more once I make it known to everybody. So if you come across any, mistakes or things that need to be changed, just let me know. But there is a glossary here, so different, just different abbreviations, really, acronyms that are used throughout the game, and what do those things mean. So when you see the splits, like when you see these numbers down here, what do each of those things mean? The split means, versus left or right-handed. Different things that are on each of the cards. What does it mean, the battery, the pitcher and the catcher? What are some of the ratings here that you would find on this sheet? That's a big part of it. What do these base out situation things mean? The ground out chart, that's this one. So the ground balls, what do all those numbers mean? And the symbols as well, and just what each of those things is going to be. So some of these are, a little bit uncommon, like a 3-2 out. So first base to catcher. So if there's bases loaded and it's hit to the first baseman, maybe he makes a throw to home, as opposed to making a throw to second, or sometimes to third. I think there's an out first to third. So he catches it, throws it across the diamond to third base. So those are a little bit less common than what you would normally see in the typical play. All right, so that's the game guide, and you can see it's in full color, and you don't have to print it in color if you don't want to. But the color does sometimes help connect it to the charts if you've printed the charts in color, or to the cards. If you notice, all the defensive ratings are in green. All of the base running or anything to do with base running or fielding, anything to do with base running is going to be in purple. Anything to do with fielding is going to be in green. And then right-handed stuff is in red, right red. That's what I was thinking. Same thing down here. You can see immediately how they did against right-handers by looking at the red. So I tried to make the colors meaningful, and then obviously you have, the team colors there. I try to make the colors meaningful as possible. So that's sort of the long way around this. Hopefully you are getting a good sense of the game as I play it. Hopefully you're getting a good sense of the game as I talk about it a little bit more. It's got a lot of moving parts, and so talking through it is, I hope, helpful to just understanding the big concepts of the game. That way when you get into a situation, you're thinking, well, what do I do here? Just trying to think through what would happen in a regular game. and that'll sort of lead you in the pathway, because the game engine is trying to follow the regular game of baseball. I'm not trying to abstract it or anything. I'm just trying to explain it, present it as more of a simulation. And so with that, you can kind of do some different things as far as understanding. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down in the comments section. Happy to get back to you. If you like the game or you're intrigued, would love to know that, because I just don't know how many people are interested in a game at this level of detail. This is the most detailed game I've ever made, and it's taken a couple years, maybe 2.5 years, 2 years, to be able to get this all the way to the finish line. People have asked about older seasons. I'm just not sure, because some of these, like these, I don't know how far back some of these sabermetric, what are they? They're defensive and base running statistics. I'm not sure how far back they go. Obviously, for these, that goes through most all time, but ground balls, fly balls, and line drives are based off of ground ball, line drive, and fly ball percentages. I'm not sure how far back those go either. I know they go at least back to 2002 when they began to use the StatCast data. But I'm not sure if it goes back farther than that. Maybe it does. I feel like I've seen some of those things on Baseball Reference or something back into the 80s. So I'm not really sure how far back it can go. But for sure, I'll be keeping up with brand new seasons as they finish. So when this 2024 season finishes, I hope to put that out there. Hopefully before the playoffs are even finished, I can get the 2024 season out. I just, now it's production time, which is a little bit different than creating things. And now everything has to be kind of ramped up in a different way, so that it makes it easy to put out seasons. So there's still some work to be done to make it so that more seasons can come out. But if you have any suggestions about seasons you'd like to see, I'm all ears. And I just need to look and see if any classic seasons, and that would be pre-2000. I'm considering classic. I mean, at this point, that's 25 years ago. Eesh. Long time ago. So that means I'm a classic. So, and maybe you're a real classic. Maybe you're an antique. I don't know. I don't know where you are. But this is a game that could play very well in those seasons if the numbers are there to be able to support it. So I have to really look and see if that's possible. But there's so many parts of the game that are definitely doable for older parts of the season. But I want to make sure that I have, especially in the base running and the fielding, that's where a lot of the detail of the game is. I want to make sure that that is spot on. All right. Well, if you haven't subscribed, click on subscribe. If you like this video, click on the thumbs up. Super easy way to support what I'm doing here at the channel. And if this game is of interest to you, go to clarkandaddisongaming.com. It's right at the top of the page. You can order this. The 1980 On-Base baseball season is also there. On-Base it's a more simplified game, more like a classic basic APBA or basic strat. But it's got carded players, roster sheets. I'm working on completing and finishing up this. It's a season inside of a book, basically. So you would buy the entire season, and it's these roster sheets. And the roster sheets look like... I don't have an example real close. I don't have any examples out, but the roster sheets are just like a spreadsheet full of players that are rated for that game. And then you use that in conjunction with like a game engine chart like this. This is from the 1940s, but the 1980 season I just showed would have the 1980s game engine chart. But basically you play the game off of the chart after you transfer those values onto the score sheet. So one chart, one score sheet, and you've got a game. And then the booklet keeps all of those stats and all of those players rated all together in one space. And then it would also have the game engine chart in there. So there's a couple of little changes I did make to the book already based off of this proof that I ordered. And they're nothing minor. I mean, there's nothing major. They're just minor changes. So those changes have already been made, and I'm just maybe giving a little space between Precision Baseball and when I send out that link. But I will let everyone know when that game is available to purchase for the physical copy. That'll be the first physical anything that I've ever made for Clark and Addison. And there will be more seasons to come for that because I already have everything put together. I just have to put together the actual books and stuff, which I use a company called the Game Crafter, which is the company that Craig and Matt use for Pocket Pennant Run. And so good quality. It looks good and it's very sharp. So I like it a lot. And I'm going to try to do more things if I can as far as physical cards. And cards are just so expensive. It's like $150 before shipping to do print on demand cards. So not sure how that's going to work out or if it's going to work out very well. I was doing a modern season, so lots of players, 1,300 players or something like that. Maybe for classic seasons, it might be doable. Might be. I saw that Clay Dreslock for Season Ticket and Baseball Mogul, Football Mogul, he's the creator of those games. He had a poll out asking, is $100 too much for a printed set? It was pretty overwhelming, yes. And so I just don't know. Print on demand, you get every card. Like, I just don't know that you're not going to be able to be under $100. Which I don't have very many people buying my games, so I'm not sure how many are going to pay $120 for a carded set. But this is a good option. It'll be $19.99 for you'll get the entire season, and I'm debating as to whether to include a download of the cards as well, so it'd be like you're buying the entire set. Right now you can buy the whole PDF set for $15, but with this you would get the printed book plus the cards in PDF, and then you can download the other game components if you want, so the scorecards and the game guide if you want to do that. It would be available. You wouldn't have to make a separate purchase or anything. It would just be a separate download from the purchase page. So really thinking about what's the best way to package this on-base baseball all together, and then how to move forward with some of these other things. It's yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly how to do everything because I don't know how gamers want to play. I mean, I like to lay it out the way I've laid it out. So it would just be kind of, how do you want things to be laid out, I guess? Do you want the freedom to kind of be able to create individual pages and move them around? Or would you want them to all be in a standard book together? What makes sense to be in a book? So does it make sense to have like the Precision Baseball game guide and the manager charts and the fields, the ballparks, like to have those in a book form? Maybe the highlight plays, like just having some different sections into a book, and these would be sort of the supporting charts for the game that you could buy. And then these other charts would just be, do you want to keep those? That way you're not having to flip through the book all the time. You just kind of easily have these things. But maybe some things that if you buy the game, I would love to talk to you about your thoughts about the game. What about printing these different parts of the game? Obviously you can't print the cards because you wouldn't be able to cut them out very well. You can't print them into a bound book is what I mean. And then this needs to be usable. I don't know if you could print that or not, and I really don't think you would want these two things showing up all the time if you're using that. But I could see the fields being in a printed bound form because they are going to be individually used. You're not going to use multiple fields for a game, so you just kind of flip to the field you're using and use that. I could see the game guide being put into printed form. I could see some of the resources like this, so gameplay sequences or the highlight plays or the manager tendencies. You're really just going to use these like a handful of times a game. I could see these charts being put into printed form as well. So like, you know, with all the ballparks, you know, now you've got a book, you know, you got a booklet, and then you've got this, and that would be, you know, this is like 60 pages front and back. So now you've got, you know, you got yourself a pretty healthy book there at 75 pages or so, which would keep everything cut down a little bit as far as what you need to keep track of. But would you want these kinds of things put into a book? Don't really know how that would turn out or how easy it would be to put that into a book form. But basically you would have the cards and then maybe everything else in the book. I'm not sure. It just seems like it would be a lot of flipping around because this is a chart that you use all the time. So, I don't know. Thoughts on that? Would that be of interest to anybody to have this game, Precision Baseball, put into a book form in some form or fashion? So lots of things to think about and to experiment with and try. And some time to do it. So I think it will be okay. But go out, get this game, try it out. Let me know what you think. Are there improvements that can be made? Again, this is getting ready for a hard launch. It's sort of in soft launch mode. $12 gets you the entire game, all the charts. There's no separate downloads or anything like that. You don't purchase the season cards differently than the components. It all comes together. And I put it at such a low price because there's a lot of things to print out. There's a lot of color. And so if I can offset your printing costs just a little bit, I want to do that so that more gamers don't run away, you know, because it's a lot of things to print out. So hopefully lowering the cost will get that into more people's hands and make this, it's in line with some of the other more modern games as well at $12. So, all right. I think I've gone on long enough. I appreciate your patience if you've made it this far, and appreciate everyone's support for this game, for this channel, for all the things that we're doing at the Clark and Addison Gaming Company. There's lots of other sports and games to choose from if you go to the website. Lots of different things that are going to be coming in the fall. And I think I'm going to try to focus a little bit more on just maybe improving games or getting more seasons out. Right now, I don't have anything in my mind about a new game concept. So I think it's just buckle down, get out more up-tempo seasons, get out more play-action football seasons, try to see if I can turn this game into older classic seasons or how far back I can go, and more on-base baseball seasons as well. So, all right, I think that's it from here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.